Hi guys, Jen Magana with Convicted Hearts. Just sitting here kicking it in my daughter's room. She's out of town right now, so this is kind of my quiet spot. And I've had a lot on my mind. If you can please hit that subscribe bell button, I would greatly appreciate it. I just want to kind of jump right into this with you, all of you, whoever's here, whoever taps in later on. Kind of want to touch on the subject of PTSD and what that has looked like in my life. So for myself, I do have a diagnosis of PTSD, and from my understanding, that has to be given by a psychologist or psychiatrist, which I was seen by both after the murder of my father. Those of you that know my story know that my father was killed at the hands of my sibling, who is now serving his sentence in prison. I've since forgiven my sibling, and I still mourn the loss of my father. That might sound very confusing to many of you. Believe me, I get it. It's very confusing to me, even though I'm living it. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what that's like on an everyday basis. In my particular case, it was very odd and strange the way everything went down. I do have an interview out there if you guys want to check it out with Adrian from Heart Intentions. I also did an interview with Nate Dog 916. But I'm kind of touching on the PTSD part, and just if you guys have any questions, shoot them my way, pretty much. This has been like heavy on my mind because for some reason I keep having this reoccurring nightmare that I used to have when I first lost my father. And I was able to block that out after several years. But recently, after my children lost their own father, and it wasn't to, a violent act, it was to a terminal illness. But for some reason that seemed to have awoken my PTSD and trauma. So this is the recurring nightmare that I used to have and now have started to have again. Okay, let me go back a little bit. When my father was when I was informed my father was murdered by my brother, I was also informed that I would either need to move into his home, my father's, and begin paying the mortgage, or rent it out. The problem with renting the home out is Salinas, California is considered a somewhat small area, and not too many people are very excited or enthusiastic about renting a home that a body has been found in, especially a body that has lost their life due to a traumatic event and has been there for a couple weeks, if you can kind of follow what I'm saying. So with that said, the attorney that my father, he just so happened to have been drafting up his will and everything with several months before he was killed. Unfortunately, he never was able to sign that will before his life was taken. This attorney informed me that I would need to move in and take over the mortgage payments, or like I said, rent the home out, which would be very difficult considering the circumstances. I was sort of in a bind. I was in a situation where I was living with family members that were now looking at me in a certain light because I had been the one to call in the welfare check for my dad because I couldn't find him. And I was told that he was on a fishing trip. But he wasn't back when he was supposed to be back. So after I called that welfare check in, a lot of family members, although they know, I had to do it, it still causes some weird feelings and vibes. And, you know, it's my brother, you know, it's my sibling that did it. So there was a torn fabric, like right down the middle in our family. And I was on one side and my brother was on the other. And it was really easy. I shouldn't say easy because I don't know. It seemed like it was to me, but that's probably because I was pushed to one side. It seemed like it was easy back then that our mother's side of the family was with my brother. My father's side of the family, unfortunately, I had not been allowed a true relationship with, I guess is what I can say, growing up. My brother and I weren't exactly accepted the way the other nieces and nephews were because of issues and disagreements with our mother. So my support system was very limited, and some of the support I had was very toxic and abusive. So I was in a pretty desperate situation, right? And basically, I was finding out bits and pieces, never the full story of what happened. All I knew was I received a call sometime close to midnight on a Sunday evening telling me, "We indeed found your father's body in his travel trailer. We're charging your brother with his murder." I remember making a noise that I can't describe, and my children to this day say they can't quite describe it. They'll never forget that noise that came out of me. And that's probably because it was so traumatic, so from deep within, that there is no way to explain it. But I'm assuming, I don't know everything, obviously. I'm assuming that that is something that deep trauma has something to do with. Once moving into my dad's house, I began to see, things that reminded me of my father and made me feel good and made me feel safe because it was my dad, right? And I also found things that gave me a negative feeling and reminded me of what might have taken place in the home, because I was never quite explained a situation, a crime scene. As far as I knew, what I was told, there was never a crime scene. It was actually found. And I was told by crime scene investigators that the home was actually gone through 2 to 3 times with luminol and various people from the crime scene investigative department, and nothing was found. So I, to this day, don't know where my father's death actually took place. If it was in the home or if it was out on an actual camping or fishing trip. So that's just something I had to, not that I'm at peace with it, but I had to make peace with the fact that I will probably never know. If you guys hear that noise, I apologize. That's my 120-pound American Bulldog at the door. She wants in here with me, but she makes a lot of noise on the hardwood floors. So she's right there, laying next to the door. So anyways, once in my dad's house, yes, I did stay in my father's actual bedroom. There's 3 bedrooms. I have like 6 children in total. At that time, there was 4 living at home, 2 were adults. So I did stay in my dad's room. That's where the master bedroom was, the bathroom. And within that bedroom, there was a closet my dad built. And when he originally bought the home, there was no closet. But he made sure to build this one for himself. He was super proud, and I was super proud of him. I still am, for saving up and building this for himself and for what he planned to pass down to myself and my kids. This closet, unfortunately, was part of my worst nightmares that I would have throughout my PTSD experience. There was a reoccurring nightmare I had, and please understand that I don't enjoy speaking about this, but I'm speaking about it to help educate people out there dealing with trauma and those that don't understand it as well. So if you're disturbed by death, by violence, and things of that nature, you might want to tune out right now. I'm just giving you guys kind of a heads up. Okay, so in my nightmare, this recurring nightmare I would have sometimes several times a night, I was trapped in this closet. And when I would wake up in this closet, but it was like, it was a nightmare, but it was all like as if I was really there. It was like as if I was really awake and feeling the touch of things, the temperature of things, the sound of things. All of that was very real. Like, as I'm telling you, like as if I was actually experiencing it. So when I would wake up in the closet, I would be trying to find my way out of it. I would be feeling around, looking for, the doorknob, but everything was dark. And when I would go to feel for the doorknob to get out in this nightmare, I would feel a cold, dead body. And in this nightmare, that was my father. And in order to get to the door to get out, I had to pass through crawling over my father. Now, I never quite made it through the door. Anytime I had this nightmare, this dream, whatever you want to call it, flash, I don't know what you would call it actually. My chest even feels heavy talking about it, but it was very disturbing. And there was months, if not years, that I spent having this nightmare, waking up, trying to fall asleep, trying to do anything I could to sleep, which I'm ashamed to say, like, I tried medicating myself. I tried drinking. I tried doing just about anything I could just to sleep and not think about this and not have this nightmare and not feel this way. But I couldn't make it go away. Nothing made it go away. I woke up to this nightmare. I fell asleep to this nightmare, as well as many others. I would wake up to hearing things, to hearing voices, to hearing my father, to hearing screams, various things that tormented me for several years. I don't think I actually left the home truly, other than, dropping my children off to school and not getting out of the car, the drop-off line, and back for probably the first 3 years. And that's very embarrassing and shameful for me to admit, but it's the truth. This is what PTSD does, as well as many other things, but this is one of the many things it does to you. It takes your life, your real life, what you're used to, what you know, what you knew, and it changes you. I could no longer function as a normal human being, as a mother, as a woman, as a friend, a daughter, a granddaughter. I was simply existing. And I felt like I couldn't do it any longer. There was several times that I debated taking my own life. So trigger warning, if you have any issues with, I don't know if I can even say the word on here, but, harming yourself, self-harm, please be aware that I'm not condoning that as a way out. As a matter of fact, I'm saying don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Please don't do it. There was one day that I felt like I lost all control. I was going on several days of not sleeping, not being able to care for myself, and feeling like a failure to my children and my family. I had even begged a partner to take my life. I had even said I would write my own note saying why I was ending my life if they would just pull the trigger, if you will, because I didn't have the guts to do it. Obviously, they didn't follow through and do that. Thank God. I also found myself once sitting on the bathroom floor in my father's master bathroom with his service weapon. And I had come to an agreement that this was it. This was the day. I had pretty much blacked out, and I thought, I cannot do this any longer. I think it was 6 days of pure nightmares and torment, PTSD that I had been going through. And I'm sure that contributed to my thought process or lack of thought process. And I was ready to end it. So if you can imagine, there I sat, my back against the wall, toilet on one side, door on the other. I had that weapon in my hand, and I was trying to talk myself into it. Although I had been brought up in church and been told that this was never an option, my suffering felt too great, and I just needed a way out. I needed relief. I felt like I was almost there. And right when my hand touched that service weapon, I heard a small voice at the bathroom door that said, "Mommy, Mommy, come out and watch a movie with me, Mommy." And I looked as I heard a noise under the door, and these little fingers slid a DVD underneath the door of the bathroom. And it was a Disney cartoon. I think it's Disney or Pixar. Nemo. I don't like cartoons. People that know me personally know that. This is one of the few that I can tolerate. That I actually can enjoy with my kids. So, I can hear my bulldog snoring. That is so embarrassing. I'm sure you guys are going to hear that on here. That is not me. That's my dog. She won't leave my side. So, when my little one slid that movie under the door, and I saw which cartoon movie it was, something in me instantly snapped and told me, no, don't do this. Your babies need you. Your children need you. I dropped the weapon, and it's like I instantly snapped back into reality. Call it what you will. I call it God. Working through my child, yes, but I call it God. That interceded in that moment and stopped the thought process of ending my life. I'm ashamed to even speak of that, but it wasn't the first time I had come that close. As a matter of fact, when I was a teenager, I had done even further things to harm myself. And maybe one day I can speak about that, because I have had it feels like a long relationship with depression, anxiety, PTSD, different things that have tormented me. But I'm here. I have my kids. I'm doing my very best to live my life. I'm doing my very best to share that with other people, to give you guys some hope, I hope. I'm not tearing up or crying because I feel sad or sorry for me or for my situation, because I know in my heart what God's promise is. And for myself, I'm not trying to push this on anyone else. You can believe what you want. But I feel and I know in my heart that I will be reunited with my Father again one day. And I pray every day for my brother's salvation, as well as my own, my family's, everything else. I pray for the strength to get through whatever comes my way, to share my story, share my testimony with all of you, and to receive anything that you guys have to share with me, and to help me grow in my own life, here on earth, and spiritually, emotionally, whatever. I've already been super blessed meeting, not personally in person, but meeting several of you on here and in private messages. And that has really blessed my heart. So I just want to tell you guys, you might be in a situation where something feels so real that you can touch it, feel it, feel the temperature of it, feel the ache of it within you, deep, deep within you. But I promise you, that feeling is not forever. Don't give up. Please don't give up. There is something out there for you. Your story can be that helps to save other people from their own torment. You have people that love you and need you, that you might not even know or realize are looking to you to get through their day. But they are. I had no idea how many people my life could impact, because I felt no worth in myself. But I now know that there's many people that depend on me, and many people that I have since met that are such a tremendous blessing to my life. I'm really glad that I'm here. And I'm really glad that you guys are here watching with me, or watching me, whatever. I'm still kind of new to this, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I hope this didn't seem too silly, or because it's not. I'm not always sure how I relay my message of what I'm trying to speak about, but this is very real. And I'm here to tell you that you have a purpose. Don't give up. Keep looking forward. Look for the small things, because they are there. Even if it's little fingers reaching under the door, asking you to watch a movie with them. That's the sign. That's a sign that you're supposed to be here. Sending you guys a ton of love and blessings. Jen with Convicted Hearts. I love you guys. If you don't know if anyone else does, I'm sending that love out to you full blast. Stay blessed. If you guys need to reach out, my email is listed, as well as my Instagram, and I'm here, okay? God bless you guys. Sending you much love. Till next time.